Hi, welcome to another video. This video is a request for the stripefix board that I'm making because I have some question regarding the placement of the IC socket and what pins or components to use. This board is sandwiched between the IC and the PCB. But before I show you the video, I would like to just show you what I've done, so you just don't get too far out into the video before I explain what has been going on. So what I've done. Yeah, here you can see I have taken a picture of 4 different revisions of the Commodore 64 revisions. I scaled the image that I imported into this SketchUp program, Google SketchUp, and then I placed the components on here, so you can see the orange part here. That's ceramic capacitors, and in some, usually someone bends them down. Open another one. I haven't shown the picture of the PCB here because it gets so very cluttered if I do so, but the main idea here is that for each of these revisions you have opponents or components that are opponents. They are your enemy here because they tell you how wide your PCB will be and where it's not supposed to be. So let's open all four of them. So here you can see that if I want to have something pots to adjust on, I can't have any board here, but I can have it out here and here. And also you can see here you can't have pins going down from the board and over this. This is like a ferrite core. This is what I've done so far. Yeah, and basically you can see here I made the board such that I can have pots here, and I have some pins here. For some reason they are gone right now, but there should be pins there, and the problem I will explain in this video is the area here. So yeah, thanks. Okay, so now the problem is, how can I connect this board or this header to this board without getting so close to the, or too far out here? Because one of the early boards, Commodore boards, they had a adjustment pot here, so it causes a problem when I want to move the IC socket to the right, where the original socket is. As you can see, I'm zooming in on the underneath there. But yeah, it's a problem. So then there are some prototypes out there that if you look at here, this is from Facebook. So this guy here has made a prototype for the Commodore 128, and I don't know how he has done it. It's the standard IC socket here, but then he has pins on the other side that are directly underneath. And I wanted to do something like this, but I don't know how to solder this together, because this is not the standard way of doing things. So, but then there's something called IDCP. This is an IDE interface for the Amiga, and you put it under the CPU socket of the Amiga 500. And then, if you look here, you see that the pins underneath here, they are thin ones, so they will fit into a socket, and they are going into the PCB board. But if you look here, no, let's try this one. So it looks like they have taken the main processor here and made it into a SMD type, because you can see the surface, the pins have been bent onto the surface here. And I think the reason for that is, if you look at this picture, is that they can solder the IC here, and then in the hole there they can have the pins that goes to the socket below, where the prototype will be fitted. And you can also see there's some discrepancies. So here you see they are doing this. They are mounting the IC a little bit off center, but here you can see they are detached, and that is something I want also, because I don't really want the signals from the analog signals that is around here somewhere to go back to the modulator when I can then route them directly through the air with a cable, because analog signals, they pick up so much noise on the main board. So I think maybe I can get better picture if we detached it. And then we can also have a sort of solder breach, that if we don't want the signal to go through the alternate way, we can then just put a solder blob, and then the signal will attach itself back to the pin or originally. So never mind this arrangement here. So now, as you can see here, I have the 4 revisions. They are now active, and let's just have the one, the early one, because then we don't have so much clutter on here. So this is the early revision of the Commodore 64, and but what I can do is I can take this IC socket and make it into a SMD type, like he did. So now if I now move it, let's see, I click here, I move, no, sorry. So this is SketchUp, you have to double click it to edit it, and then okay, yeah, and then you find the socket, or you can, actually you don't have to do that, you can just double click and then double click on the socket, and then you can see you have selected socket. And now if you double click again, then we are clicked too much, because then we are editing it. We're not going to edit it, we're just going to move it. So now I will move it back, and the way I do that is that I move it on the green axis, and then I say 2.54, and then it's 2.54 millimeters to the left, or along the green axis. So then it should be exactly on top again, like I did previously. And now that I've done that, I can then move. Okay, so let's select the PCB here, and now we're editing it. So yeah, it's being edited. I click the surface I want to move, and I can now move the surface on the face of this outside face of this surface, so it becomes in parallel. So now the problem is gone. But if I want to do this trick, I need this one to be a little bit out, so I guess we'll just have to figure out how much. But for now I can set this component here has a margin already, so I'll move it onto it. Actually I just I should have a margin here. So it says 2.29, so let's say if you look down here, this is how many millimeter I'm moving it. So out here it's 2.29, so if you say 2.0, 2 millimeters, yeah, don't you think that's great? What do you think, guys? So I need some help to figure out what I should do here, because this is not standard way of doing things. So also when I do this trick, I think this PCB, wait, no, this socket has to be moved a little bit up, right? So I can bend the pins. So now, let's see. Now you can see what's going on. So the thing here is that these pins are now, are supposed to be bent this way, so they are not directly connected to the pins below them. And now we have a third problem now. How high will this be? You see, this arrangement is getting higher and higher, and then you get the IC on top of that again. There, and hide. Yeah. And not only that, it's not correct anymore, so if you move this one up, press shift, and then I can point to this corner. Yeah, so you see the board is getting higher and higher. So we can measure the height. So we measure from here, keep the axis, and then here 1.3 centimeters. Doesn't sound like much, but there's not that much room in the Commodore. I think I will have to do some modeling. Yeah, maybe we should do that and try and get the keyboard and look how high is the keyboard in comparison to the VIC chip. Yeah, so please let me know if you have any suggestions how to do this, how to place or what components to use to fit this board onto the IC socket, and then yeah, actually I don't have words for what it's called either. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'd like to know what components to use, what kind of pins to use, and also how do I solve this problem with the space, you know, on the side here, without without moving the new socket too much to the right. So yeah.